Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. India to witness GDP growth of 8 to 8.5% in 2022-23 States Economic Survey. Addressing joint sitting of Parliament, President Ramnath Kovind says India once again becomes one of the fastest growing economies of the world. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to present Union Budget 2022-23 in Parliament tomorrow. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla convenes all-party meeting in New Delhi to ensure smooth functioning of the House. Election Commission extends ban on road shows, padyatras, vehicle rallies and processions till 11th of February. 1,000 persons allowed in physical public meetings. Campaigning picks up pace for first two phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Goa and Uttarakhand. Prime Minister addresses 30th Foundation Day program of National Commission for Women, says India redefines its goals from seeing women in households to women in business. Over 166 crore 3 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far. And Indian Coast Guard to celebrate its 46th Raising Day tomorrow. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. With the new Omicron variant of coronavirus causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. Now the news in detail. India will witness GDP growth of 8 to 8.5% in 2022-23, supported by widespread vaccine coverage, gains from supply-side reforms and easing of regulations, robust export growth, and availability of fiscal space to ramp up capital spending. Finance Minister Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman tabled the Economic Survey 2021-22 in Parliament today, which states that the year ahead is well poised for a pickup in private sector investment, with the financial system in a good position to provide support to the revival of the economy. The growth projection for 2022-23 is based on the assumption that there will be no further debilitating pandemic-related economic disruption, monsoon will be normal, and withdrawal of global liquidity by major central banks will be broadly orderly. Referring to first advance estimates, the survey states that the Indian economy is estimated to grow by 9.2% in real terms in 2021-22, after a contraction of 7.3% in 2020-21. Dwelling on the sectoral aspects, the survey states that agriculture and allied sectors have been the least impacted by the pandemic, and the sector is expected to grow by 3.9% in 2021-22, after growing by 3.6% in the previous year. The survey added that total consumption is estimated to have grown by 7% in 2021-22, with government consumption remaining the biggest contributor as in the previous year. In conclusion, the survey is quite optimistic that overall macroeconomic stability indicators suggest that the Indian economy is well placed to take on the challenges of 2022-23, and one of the reasons that the country's economy is in a good position is its unique response strategy. The pre-budget economic survey was tabled ahead of the Union Budget for the next financial year beginning the 1st of April 2022. Addressing media in New Delhi on the Economic Survey 2021-22, Chief Economic Advisor Dr. V. Anantha Nageswaran said,
There's been a revival of economic activity to pre-pandemic levels in the year 21-22. This shows through in the national accounts, and it shows through in a whole bunch of high-frequency data that we have. I've just, for illustration, put the e-way bill collection, and you can see that there was a big contraction during the national lockdown last year, then a sharp revival, a more shallow slowdown during the second wave. So even though there was the health cost of the second wave was much more severe, the economic cost of it by almost all accounts was much milder. But there was an impact and then a subsequent revival.
Speaking exclusively to All India Radio News, Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, Dr. Rajiv Kumar said, the GDP growth is poised to be higher than the pre-pandemic levels. Dr. Kumar stressed on the solid foundation for this forecast.
My own understanding would be that Indian economy in 2022-23 will grow between 8.5% to 9%. I go along with the economic survey. The survey's assumptions on which this growth target, the growth estimate is based are very sound. They're talking about the recovery in manufacturing, in the services which had suffered the most, and also in private investment and consumption. And of course, the government will do its role in expanding the capital expenditure on public infrastructure. So I think altogether, we are now on a trajectory of rapid and sustained growth in the years to come.
The full interview of Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, on the economic survey can be heard in our Spotlight program at 9:15 tonight. In another interview to AIR News, Dr. Bibek Debroy, Chairman of Prime Minister Economic Advisory Council, said the 9.2% GDP growth projection for 2021-22 given in the economic survey is completely realistic and the revival is robust across sectors.
People outside the government have also remarked on the fact that there is a revival going on. It's a fairly robust revival across sectors, and this does not merely offset the decline that happened in the preceding year. The level of GDP also surpasses the pre-pandemic levels. This is a point that survey has also made. If you look at external forecasts, most people today would go along with that 9.2% real growth rate projected in survey for this financial year. So therefore, I think that 9.2% is completely realistic. Whether it's going to be 9% or 9.5%, we will know only at the end of the year, but 9.2% is completely realistic.
The exclusive interview of Dr. Bibek Debroy can be heard in a special program at 9:30 p.m. today. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget for the financial year 2022-23 in Lok Sabha tomorrow at 11 a.m. The copy of the budget will be laid on the table of Rajya Sabha soon thereafter. A meeting of the Union Cabinet will be held tomorrow to approve the Union Budget 2022-23. After getting the nod from the Cabinet, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will present the Union Budget 2022-23 in a paperless form for the second time tomorrow in the Lok Sabha. Earlier, the Union Budget of 2021-22 was delivered in paperless form last year for the first time. President Ramnath Kovind has said the government is moving fast on building a strong foundation for the next 25 years following the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas और Sabka Prayas.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव हम सभी भारतीयों के लिए अगले 25 वर्षों के संकल्पों को आकार देने का पवित्र अवसर है। मेरी सरकार सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास के मंत्र पर चलते हुए अगले 25 वर्षों के लिए मजबूत बुनियाद पर तेजी से काम कर रही है। इस बुनियाद का सबसे महत्वपूर्ण संकल्प एक सर्वसमावेशी, सर्वहितकारी, सशक्त भारत का निर्माण और देश की आत्मनिर्भरता है।
He said the most important resolution related to this foundation is the creation of inclusive and self-reliant India. Addressing the joint sitting of both houses of Parliament today, the President lauded the various schemes and initiatives of the government for the welfare of the people. He said India has once again become one of the fastest growing economies of the world due to the relentless efforts of the government. He said,
देश में जीएसटी कलेक्शन पिछले कई महीनों से निरंतर 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए से ऊपर बना हुआ है। इस वित्त वर्ष के पहले 7 महीनों में $48 बिलियन का विदेशी निवेश आना इस बात का प्रमाण है कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीय निवेशक भारत के विकास को लेकर बहुत आश्वस्त हैं।
Mr. Kovind said the government has launched 14 key production-linked incentive schemes. He added these PLI schemes will not only help transform India as a global manufacturing hub, but also create over 60 lakh jobs. Stressing on the role of MSMEs in India's prosperity, he said they have been the backbone of the country's economy and a driver of Atmanirbhar Bharat. The President pointed out that the infrastructure is the foundation for development in any country. He said investment in infrastructure not only generates lakhs of new jobs, but also facilitates ease of doing business and promotes economic activities. He said the government has integrated different ministries to work in a synergized manner under the Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti National Master Plan to accelerate infrastructure development. Reiterating the government's mantra of Antyodaya, he said the government is giving free ration every month to all the poor under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that a lot of opportunities are available for India in the present global scenario. On the first day of the budget session today, the Prime Minister said the country's economic progress, pace of vaccination and indigenous developed vaccines have generated trust at the global level.
ये बजट सत्र एक प्रकार से पूरे वर्ष भर का खाका खींचता है और इसलिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है। हम पूरी प्रतिबद्धता के साथ इस बजट सत्र को जितना ज्यादा फलदायी बनाएंगे, आने वाला पूरा वर्ष हमें नई आर्थिक ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाने के लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर बनेगा। मुक्त चर्चा हो, मननीय चर्चा हो, मानवीय संवेदनाओं से भरी हुई चर्चा हो, अच्छे मकसद से चर्चा हो, इसी अपेक्षा के साथ आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu held a virtual meeting of the leaders of various parties and groups in the Parliament House this evening. Sources said during the meeting, Mr. Naidu gave details of time available for various items of business during the first part of the budget session that began today. He stated that during the 10 sittings in the first part till the 11th of February, only 23 hours of time will be available for business other than 0 hour, question hour and private members' business. Mr. Naidu further said that discussion on motion of thanks to the President of his address and discussion on Union Budget 2022-23 to be presented tomorrow will get priority during the first part of the session. 15 leaders of different parties spoke in the meeting and many of the leaders called for a disruption-free budget session. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla today convened an all-party meeting in New Delhi to ensure smooth functioning of the House. Talking to reporters after the meeting, Mr. Birla said leaders of all parties have assured that they would cooperate in running the Parliament. Mr. Birla said he urged them to have an extensive discussion on President's address and the budget. He asked everyone to raise important issues in the House. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi has said in the first part of the current session there would be discussions on the Union Budget that would be presented tomorrow and motion of thanks on today's President's address. A meeting of the government with leaders of all parties was held today in a virtual mode on the first day of the budget session of Parliament. In his opening address, Mr. Joshi made a request on behalf of the government seeking cooperation from all parties for smooth functioning of the House during the budget session. He informed the leaders that the session will provide a total of 29 sittings, 10 sittings in first part and 19 sittings in second part, spread over a period of 68 days. The Chairman and Managing Director of North Eastern Development Finance Corporation Limited, PVSLN Murthy, hoped that the North East will get special subsidy in the telecom sector in the general budget tomorrow.
As usual, North East is getting a very good share from the government, has been supporting the North East. But still, we have asked some specific areas where the special subsidy for the telecom sector, because there are many areas where the connectivity is still a challenge in the northeastern state.
The Election Commission has extended the ban on road shows, padyatras, vehicle rallies and processions till the 11th of February. Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra, along with Election Commissioners Rajiv Kumar and Anup Chandra Pandey, today held another comprehensive review of the present situation of COVID-19 infection, particularly in the states of Goa, Manipur, Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. During the meeting, all the chief secretaries of these states informed the Commission that the positivity rate is showing a decline, with the number of hospitalization cases also registering a declining trend. The Commission has now decided to allow physical public meetings of political parties or contesting candidates in designated open spaces with a maximum of 1,000 persons instead of existing 500 persons or 50% of the capacity of the ground from tomorrow for all phases. The Commission has also enhanced the limit for door-to-door campaigns.
Instead of 10 persons, now 20 persons, excluding security personnel, will be allowed for door-to-door campaigns. It has now granted relaxation for the political parties to the extent that indoor meetings of a maximum of 500 persons instead of existing 300 persons or 50% of the capacity of the hall is allowed. The Commission has said that all political parties and contesting candidates shall ensure the compliance of COVID-appropriate behavior and guidelines and model code of conduct at all occasions. Campaigning for the first phase of election in Uttar Pradesh is reaching its crescendo with the entry of senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the political battlefield. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed the first virtual rally for the state. The Prime Minister interacted with the voters and party workers of Saharanpur, Shamli, Muzaffarnagar, Bagpat and Gautam Budh Nagar districts. These districts are going for polls in the first phase of elections on the 10th of February. During his interaction, Prime Minister Modi attacked earlier SP government and said that criminals and goons were ruling the roost in previous governments and such elements are trying to take revenge this time. But people of Uttar Pradesh are quite vigilant this time since they do not want old days back. Addressing the gathering virtually, Prime Minister said, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas is the motto of BJP government in last 5 years. Everyone got the benefits of government schemes without any discrimination. Mr. Modi said that his government is working for small and marginalized farmers and started many schemes for them. He appealed to people, especially the first-time voters, to cast their votes in large numbers. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath from Agra and Deputy Chief Minister Dinesh Sharma from Lucknow also joined the digital rally. Other political parties have also intensified their campaign. Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav today filed his nomination from the Karhal Assembly seat in Manipuri district. Contest at his VIP seat has become very interesting after the entry of BJP leader and Union Minister SP Baghel as party candidate who also filed his nomination today. A report.
Contesting his first assembly election, Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav arrived in a Vijay Rath at Collectorate of Manipuri district to file his nomination. Senior party leader Professor Ram Gopal Yadav and incumbent MLA from the seat Sobaran Singh Yadav along with other party leaders were also present on the occasion. Considered as bastion of Yadav family, Karhal is just 4 kilometers from Saifai, the native village of Akhilesh Yadav, but is part of Manipuri parliamentary constituency represented by party founder and his father Mulayam Singh Yadav. Karhal will go to the polls on 20th February. Bharatiya Janata Party has fielded Union Minister SP Singh Baghel against Samajwadi Party President Akhilesh Yadav from the Karhal constituency, who also filed his papers today. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Meanwhile, Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra campaigned for party candidates in Gautam Budh Nagar district, while AIMIM Chief Asauddin Owaisi also addressed a rally for party candidate at Dhaulana constituency in Hapur district today.
The electoral campaign has gained momentum for the first two phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and the single-phase polls in Goa and Uttarakhand. Star campaigners and prominent leaders of various political parties are engaged in public rallies after finalization of the candidates for the first phase. Door-to-door canvassing and virtual appeals to the voters also continue. Party leaders are holding marathon meetings to finalize their electoral strategies and formations. In Manipur, Shiv Sena Party has announced the names of its 6 candidates who will contest the upcoming assembly elections in the state. The list of 6 candidates, including 3 ST and 1 SC seats, was announced by Shiv Sena Northeast in charge Dilip Panikar today. Tamil Nadu State BJP President Annamalai has said the party has decided to fight alone in the ensuing urban local body polls. Speaking to the media in Chennai, he said the AIADMK was still part of the NDA at the national level. He said it was time for BJP to carve a place in the Tamil Nadu politics and reach out to the people at large.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India to witness GDP growth of 8 to 8.5% in 2022-23 State Economic Survey. Addressing joint sitting of Parliament, President Ramnath Kovind says India once again becomes one of the fastest growing economies of the world. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to present Union Budget 2022-23 in Parliament tomorrow. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla convenes all-party meeting in New Delhi to ensure smooth functioning of the House. Election Commission extends ban on road shows, Padyatra, vehicle rallies and processions till 11th of February. 1,000 persons allowed in physical public meetings. Campaigning picks up pace for first two phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Goa and Uttarakhand. Prime Minister addresses 30th Foundation Day program of National Commission for Women, NCW, says India redefines its goals from seeing women in households to women in business. Over 166 crore 59 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far, and Indian Coast Guard to celebrate its 46th Raising Day tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Budget 2022 with All India Radio News. What makes the headlines? What matters most for the people, markets, sectors, industry and the nation? Join All India Radio News for a special live day-long program on the Union Budget. For an in-depth analysis by experts, special budget bulletins, people's reaction on the budget and exclusive interviews. Tune in to the FM Gold channel 100.1 MHz of All India Radio and other frequencies. From 10:20 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Tuesday, that is 1st of February. Also available on our app, News on AIR, and our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर।
8700014242।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by the Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India has redefined its goals from seeing women in households to women in business. They are coming forward and immensely contributing in the textile sector and startup sector, among others. Addressing the 30th Foundation Day program of National Commission for Women NCW this evening through video conferencing, Mr. Modi said today the role of women is changing and expanding. He said the expansion of the role of the National Commission for Women is also the need of the hour.
और अधिक प्रभावी और अधिक जिम्मेदार नई ऊर्जा से सरोबार आज बदलते हुए भारत में महिलाओं की भूमिका का निरंतर विस्तार हो रहा है। इसलिए राष्ट्रीय महिला आयोग की भूमिका का विस्तार भी आज समय की मांग है। ऐसे में आज देश के सभी महिला आयोगों को अपना दायरा भी बढ़ाना होगा और अपने राज्य की महिलाओं को नई दिशा भी देनी होगी।
The Prime Minister said women are playing a crucial role in New India's growth cycle. He said in Mudra Yojana, 70% are women beneficiaries. He said in over 60,000 startups, 45% of them have at least one woman leader.
देश की महिलाओं का उत्साह और सामर्थ्य इतना है कि 6-7 सालों में स्वयं सहायता समूहों की संख्या 3 गुना बढ़ गई है। यही ट्रेंड हमें भारत के स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम में भी देखने को मिल रहा है। 2016 से हमारे देश में 56 अलग अलग सेक्टर्स में 60,000 से ज्यादा नए स्टार्टअप्स बने हैं और हम सभी के लिए गौरव का विषय है कि इनमें से 45% में कम से कम एक महिला निर्देशक महिला है।
The Prime Minister said the definition of women's empowerment is not limited to women in business, but the beneficiaries of over 9 crore women who have received LPG gas connection and freedom from pollution. He said for the first time in a long time, the nation has seen an increase in sex ratio and school dropout rate under Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. The gross GST revenue collected in the month of January 2022 is 1,38,394 crore rupees, of which CGST is 24,674 crore rupees, SGST is over 32,000 crore rupees, IGST is over 72,000 crore rupees, and cess is 9,674 crore rupees. The Finance Ministry said the highest monthly GST collection has been 1,39,708 crore rupees in the month of April 2021.
India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 166 crore 59 lakh mark. Union Health Ministry said over 94 crore 17 lakh vaccine doses have been administered as first dose and more than 71 crore 17 lakh vaccine doses given as second doses. It said more than 53 lakh vaccine doses were administered today. The recovery rate is currently at 94.37%. The Madhya Pradesh government has decided to reopen schools from classes 1 to 12th with 50% capacity from the 1st of February. The state government had on the 14th of January ordered the closure of schools and hostels for all classes till the 31st of January in the wake of a surge in COVID-19 cases. In West Bengal, educational institutions will reopen from the 3rd of February. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee announced the decision of the state government at the State Secretariat today. In schools, offline classes will be held for the students of class 8 to class 12. For the students of class 5th to class 7th, schools have been asked to conduct classes locally as per the scheme Pare Shikheloe or school in your locality. However, classes of primary section will be conducted online.
In Manipur, Governor Ganeshan handed over citations to 4 commandant-ranked officers of Assam Rifles battalions, recognizing their role in safeguarding the border and curbing drug menace in the state. The citations were handed over to the commandant of 16th AR, 20th AR, 24th AR and 25th AR battalions stationed in Manipur. One appreciation letter was also given to Inspector General of Assam Rifles South, Major General Alok Naresh, at the investiture ceremony held today at Raj Bhavan, Imphal. The Indian Coast Guard will celebrate its 46th Raising Day tomorrow. The Indian Coast Guard has grown into a formidable force with 158 ships and 70 aircraft in its inventory. Defence Ministry said as the 4th largest Coast Guard in the world, it has played a significant role in securing the Indian coasts and enforcing regulations in the maritime zones of India. The ICG has saved over 1,200 lives at sea in the last 1 year and more than 11,000 since its inception. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have strong surface winds. During daytime, temperature will vary between 7 and 23 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperature will be 19 degrees Celsius, while maximum is expected to be around 32. Chennai is likely to have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky. Later, temperature will vary between 23 and 31 degrees. Kolkata will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The city will observe a minimum temperature of 16 degrees Celsius, maximum of around 26. Srinagar will have a partly cloudy sky becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. Temperature will hover between 0 and 11 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening or night. Minimum temperature will be 8, while maximum will be around 19. Leh is likely to witness a generally cloudy sky. Minimum and maximum temperature will hover between -14 and -1 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India to witness GDP growth of 8 to 8.5% in 2022-23, State's Economic Survey. Addressing joint sitting of Parliament, President Ramnath Kovind says India once again becomes one of the fastest growing economies of the world. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to present Union Budget 2022-23 in Parliament tomorrow. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla convenes all-party meeting in New Delhi to ensure smooth functioning of the House. Election Commission extends ban on road shows, padyatras, vehicle rallies and processions till 11th of February. 1,000 persons allowed in physical public meetings. Campaigning picks up pace for first 2 phases of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh and single-phase polls in Goa and Uttarakhand. Prime Minister addresses 30th Foundation Day program of National Commission for Women, says India redefines its goals from seeing women in households to women in business. Over 166 crore 59 lakh vaccine doses administered under nationwide vaccination drive so far, an Indian Coast Guard to celebrate its 46th Raising Day tomorrow. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.